See, I can't even get the kid out. There we go. Almost there. All right. Don't get mad at penguins. Okay. Now we got it. Now what's it say underneath it?
It says underneath it, and other ways to detox the conflict in your life and business.
Open the book. Go to page like 3 or something.
Page 2.
Page 2.
Dude, Raz, they got a quote in here from Robert Wolf, the CEO of Moose Jaw.
That's good, Aaron. That's good.
And CrowdRise. And he's the CEO of Moose Jaw and CrowdRise.
Okay, Aaron, what else? Who else do they have a quote by?
Business building is impossible.com.
Well, I don't care about his.
Jason Raznick, founder and chief zinger at Benzinga, and a 2021 E&Y Entrepreneur of the Year. I got Gabe's book right here. We've got Gabe in the office. Spencer said, head of Detroit Venture Partners, which Gabe and I were chatting before, said that might not be exactly accurate. But
what I was going to say is this is a book, Aaron Bree. I'm sad that Spencer Israel left because this is going to appeal to him as well. And basically anyone that's listening. And I see that Steve Delaney just bought the book on Audible. Do you already have an audio version?
Yeah.
Is it you?
Yeah, the audiobook is out. Morgan Freeman was unavailable, so I had to narrate the book in the studio for the audiobook. Available on audio, Audible, audiobooks.com, Apple Music, anywhere books are sold. I got to say, Jason, you texted me a picture of your wife reading the book on the beach. That's awesome. That's an endorsement.
Well, that was cool. And the reason is, like, guys, this book's about embracing conflict resolution. Okay, so embracing conflict resolution. It's something that is so important, and we hide from it because we're not always honest with each other, which creates even more problems. So before we go into all that, why is the book named? Well, what are penguins, and how does it relate? And it's in the book, but I just want to steal that part.
The penguin analogy makes a lot more sense when you get to that point in the book because there's a lot of foundation to it. But in the big picture, think about this, like between expectation and reality is a space filled with conflict and suffering. And the wider that space is, the greater our suffering is. So the penguin analogy is really a lesson in acceptance. And essentially what it means is that we should accept people for who they are with all of their limitations and not expect them to do things that are beyond their ability, even though we may really, really want them to. And one of the challenges is that sometimes it's hard to see someone's limitations, especially when everything else we know about that person suggests that they're not limited. So take a penguin, for example. What do you mean a penguin can't fly? It's a bird. It's got wings. It's got feathers. And birds with wings and feathers can fly, except that penguins can't. And we can choose to get mad at that, or we can accept it. So you can apply that analogy to any kind of individual relationship, a personal relationship. Maybe you have a friend who's like always late, no matter how important it is to you that they be on time. Only the next time you expect that they're not going to be late. Or sometimes you have a friend who maybe gives you a little dig, gets a little negative every time you have some good news to share. Yet you continue to expect that the next time you have some good news to share, he'll celebrate and enjoy the moment with you. And that's the expectation. But if we think about it, we know the reality is something different. Because if you do have one of those friends, maybe he's one of those people that just isn't wired for happiness and it has nothing to do with you. So the next time you got some good news to share and he gets a little annoyed or frustrated or gets negative about it, don't get mad. Don't take it personally. It's not his fault that he's not capable of being happy for you. It's got nothing to do with you. He's not even capable of being happy for himself. And getting mad at him for that is like getting mad at a penguin because it can't fly.
So I bought this book for a few people at Benzinga as well, because I'm for radical candor, but I'm also for on both sides, not just for me, from others. I know there's people frustrated with me for something, and I got a text from this guy, Andrew Leba, saying, I didn't like how you said that, and others don't either. That kills me, because if someone didn't like what I said or what have you, then they should confront me about it versus going to someone else, because then you don't solve things. What do you suggest there? How do you conflict resolution in that area?
Yeah, so I would say what kills you about that the way you phrased it is interesting, because you said, well, that kills me because if they didn't like what I said, they should come to me. You're right. But you shouldn't get mad or frustrated at them for not coming to you. You should really think about, why aren't they coming to you? And there might be really good reasons that they're not. Maybe they don't like coming to you because it's a pain in the ass to tell Jason that he said something they don't like because they don't like the way he reacts. I'd say one way to deal with it. And by the way, I used to have that problem. I once had someone was working on my team, and I knew this woman really well. And I said to her, I said, hey, by the way, in like a check-in, how are things going with us? How's our relationship? I'm sure there are things I'm doing that you'd rather I not, or I'm sure there are things you'd like me to do that I'm not doing. So tell me. And she said, no, everything's great. And I said, come on, like no one's perfect. I know I'm not perfect. And she said, no, seriously, like if there was something wrong, I would tell you. I ended up saying to her, look, I don't want to get like, it's going to cross the line where I might get offended because I know for sure 100% there are things that you could tell me that I could benefit from. I think feedback's a gift, but I put you on the spot. Let's go grab lunch tomorrow and just take 10 minutes, like think about it. And then just maybe we can talk about it for 10 minutes. We went to lunch the next day, and for like 45 minutes straight, she was like nonstop telling me all the things that I wasn't doing that I should be, and all the things that I was doing that I shouldn't be. But it was great, and we had a great relationship. The point is, that's an uncomfortable conversation for people to have, to like go tell someone that they're at fault in some way or deficient in some way. That feels uncomfortable. And the only way to get people to do that is to make it comfortable for them. You need to set the stage. You need to create the environment where people are willing to come give you that kind of feedback. And if there's a problem and people aren't telling you about it, I'd say that's more the result of the way you're conducting yourself and the way you carry yourself than it is about their deficiency.
Even on the front cover, right? It's other ways to detox the conflict in your life and business. That I like that about the utility of this book, that whether you're reading it more through a business lens, how can I improve conflicts in my workplace, or maybe it's just with that uncle at the dinner table, is it equal to you whether you're reading it for personal or business, or is there one you wrote it for essentially more so than the other?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and it hits like actually a pretty salient point. I wrote the book as a business book. In the process of writing, I ended up getting a book deal with a real publisher. So Simon & Schuster's distributing them. So it's a real book. And the publisher kind of gave the feedback of saying, this is kind of like a self-help book disguised as a business book. And one of the taglines that I had been talking about even before they had said that was that it doesn't matter if you're in the courtroom. I'm a litigator in my early part of my career. If you're in the courtroom, the boardroom, the break room, the bar, the high school cafeteria, the parent-teacher conference, or the Thanksgiving dinner table, all conflict follows the same sets of patterns. And there aren't that many. They number in the single digits. Like on one hand, you can look at all the patterns, and all you do is you just plug in different names, dates, and facts. And I think one of the interesting things is that at the board level, when there's conflict, it's kind of just the same thing as high school. Everybody in the boardroom knows that. But people who haven't been on boards and are outside the boardroom, there seems to be this kind of like this mysticism about what happens behind that, the boardroom door. But the reality is it's always human beings interacting with each other. We all have what I was talking about, that survival instinct. Another thing is we've all, especially in the West, we've been socialized in a certain way to shy away from conflict. We soften bad news. We sugarcoat feedback. Teachers tell us, or maybe our parents tell us, if you have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Well, those are good lessons, but they socialize us to shy away from conflict. So what happens is when we are confronted with a conflict, which by the way, I think is always good, and I'll get to that in a minute, we're not equipped to deal with it because we've been trained not to. Our brains are wired not to deal with those things in a healthy way. We're with it to either fight it aggressively or to run away from it.
This book, I think, has the chance to like have this viralness that hits like corporate America, like books like Who Moved My Cheese, because it's about discussing these things and stop acting like feedback is not a gift, and it is a gift. And so it's like this book talks about that. So someone that I wish shared more feedback with me, I got the book for them because it's all about that. And it's a quick read. It's something, there's an audible book. If you guys are listening, you should check this out because I'm telling you, in like 6 months, you're going to hear like, oh, did you read this book? Did you read? That's just what's going to happen. I mean, it's going to be, that's what I think. Don't get mad at penguins. I could be wrong, but that's what I think.
I love it. Well, hey, I mean, I hope you're right. But let me plug something specific in the book. One of the great things is that at the end of each chapter, there are these like call-out boxes. You probably can't, you need to zoom in, but there's a little call-out box that kind of summarizes the chapter. There's like 2 of them at the end of each chapter. And even in the audiobook, there's a PDF that has just those boxes at the end of it. So it's something that after you read the book, you have a very quick reference guide to look back at anytime something comes up. If it's on Audible and you have it on your phone, you could in real time like look at that thing. Oh, I'm dealing with someone who's like kind of bullying me right now. This is the bully trap. Let me look at what Gabe said about that. I hope you're right. I hope it does get viral. You know, I know you guys talk a lot about investments. This is an excellent investment in your own future.
Yeah.
How's that for a pitch?
For what is it?
All right. Thanks, Gabe. Thanks for coming on.
Right.
Sorry, I'm
Thanks,
not there.
guys. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks. See you guys later.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
All right, Gabe. Thank you
We're out.
for coming in the studio.
Nice. Thanks for having me. And
Of course.
you're welcome to keep that.
No, Raz is right. I'm going to support our local authors and buy this book myself through the nice local online bookshop that is Amazon.
All right. Great. Or you can get anywhere books are sold.
But guys, don't get mad at Penguins. Author Gabe Karp live in studio. Smash the like for Gabe. Gabe, thank you again.
All right. Thanks.